Now, though, we're coming back to New Zealand to catch up with kayaker Ben Brown.
He's been a busy boy of late, including this leisurely jaunt down Hooker Falls, which casually dumps just under 1 million litres of water into the plunge pool every 4 seconds.
It's always good to come back to Hooker Falls. It's a rapid and waterfall that I'd always wanted to paddle as an aspiring young kayaker, and you know, it's a river and a rapid that has a lot of mana about it, and it's the closest we come to as kayakers of kayaking in the stadium, you know, because you've got people watching on the sidelines, cheering you, and it's almost like an arena feel there. And you know, I was hanging out in the sun and chilling and looking at the river, and it's kind of then in your preparation that you sort of start to feel, you know, a little bit of nervousness and trepidation. And I always like it when you like put your kayaking gear on and go into game mode, and you know, all of a sudden everything becomes a lot more relaxed. You know, no more standing around looking about it, thinking about it. It's time to go. It's basically a 800 metre long gorge that's made up of about 4 different rapids. There's an entry drop where you drop in, and once you've dropped into that rapid, it's the entrance to the gorge, and you're committed to the rest of the run, and the only way out is to head downstream. You've then got a bit of a ferry to the left-hand side of the river above the weir, and that to me is probably the crux of the run. It doesn't look that visually spectacular, but it's probably the place where you're most likely to get tripped up, and it's the spot in this rapid where people have had the most mishaps and accidents. So bust out that, under the bridge, give a wave to the crowd, and then you drop into what's known as the pencil sharpener. And what you really appreciate when you're down in there is that it's a big, long, steep ramp into a big V-wave that's got some pretty funky currents out the back. Get your wits about you, and then line up the final drop over the main waterfall. And basically what you're doing there is you're busting through 2 little wave holes, and then there's a big rooster tail that you just line up the top of that and pretty much send it, and the rest is history. Yeah, I mean, water, I guess, is the ultimate force of nature. It's always changing. It's super strong and powerful, and it does weird things. It's unpredictable. It always comes back to respecting the river, and I mean, you have scary moments, and that's inevitable when you're paddling hard whitewater, but the risks are worth it because you get to see some amazing places and paddle some pretty amazing pieces of whitewater. And I mean, when you're doing that, what could be better?
Stay right here, because after the break, we've got the river destroyer himself, Ben Brown, in the studio.
Plus, Ben sharing his diary from ex-fighters in Japan, and Jamie O'Brien is doing his best to get eaten alive by the Newport wedge. Welcome back to the Red Bull Chronicles. We've got the Tower of Power sitting on our couch with us. Mr. Ben Brown, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you said that. I wouldn't have had the guts to. You've had a really, really busy year so far. Hooker Falls we saw before the break, but you've just come back from Japan. We met up at X Fighters at the beginning of that trip, but then you headed north to Hokkaido. I know it's a known snow destination, but I had no idea they had good rivers up there.
Yeah, it's actually amazing. That's my 3rd trip up there, and I was lucky enough this time to go up with Rafa Ortiz, a fellow Red Bull athlete from Mexico, and we absolutely nailed it this year. We had a huge snowpack, and we timed our trip with it getting hot just by pure chance. So we had really good river flows, heaps of variety, and you know, we were there for 2.5 weeks, paddled every day. And
So what's your accommodation like when you're on those kind of trails?
this trip was actually pretty nice. We were put up by an Australian friend who owns an old primary school up there that he's turned into a rafting base. So yeah, we were actually pimping it. We had our own rooms and mattresses on the floor and everything. So it was a nice change from sleeping in bivvy bags and stuff in the woods.
I was going to say, yeah, if that's pimping it, then usually it must be tents and on the ground.
Yeah,
right?
our standards are kind of a little lower than most. But
You've done quite a few trips with Rafa now. Is it pretty important to you to have a really good dynamic with travelling companions?
oh yeah, totally. I mean, it's like any person that you spend any amount of time with, It's always cool to paddle with Rafa because he's super enthusiastic, loves kayaking, loves, experimenting with the filming side of things as well. He's, got a really high standard on the river, good safety skills, and he's just a cool, rad dude to travel with, so we had a great time.
In terms of your approach to the river, is there one of you that's more handbrake and one of you that's more maniac, or is it both maniac?
It depends on the day, really. You sort of find that some days you feel a bit fired up and the other person will kind of be the voice of reason. But I think it's fair to say that the little Mexican, he's always pretty fired up to throw himself off the edge of big waterfalls. So that's kind of cool. And you find when someone's got that kind of mojo on the river, it sort of drags you up a little bit if you're feeling a little on the scared side. So, it's cool to have guys with a lot of energy on the river for sure. Okay,
let's go and have a look at the energy then. This is Ben and Rafa Ortiz in the North Island of Japan.
Welcome to Japan.
Wow, that's pretty beautiful. Now, you guys mentioned earlier that you met up in Osaka. That was your first experience at the X-Fighters. What do you make of it?
It was awesome. I've been a long-time X-Fighters fan and been really fired up to get to an event for a while, and I was blown away. Those guys are absolutely bonkers.
We got to sit in the stands during qualifying, and it was one of the best events in terms of spectators because you could almost reach out and touch the bikes.
Doesn't sound safe.
Unbelievable.
Well, I heard you made a wee video diary.
Yep, I did.
I'm quite excited. Let's check it out.
So we've just pulled into, I think it's like the back entrance of the stadium, and boys are rocking the media passes today. Going to pretend like we're media people, but it's pretty crazy to see how big this event is. It's way more infrastructure than I thought it was going to be, but pretty excited to get in there and check out what goes on behind the scenes of these things, man. I've been an X-Fighters fan for a long time, so go check it out.
The World Tour champion Levi Sherwood from New Zealand.
How people are frothing on this stuff. I mean, look at this. There's people everywhere. Pretty crazy just to see all the behind the scenes stuff that goes on. These guys not only have to concentrate on the riding and that, but it's the media stuff and all the surrounding hoopla. But pretty sweet to get back here and check it out. What do you got going on here? Is that your trick list, or is that just in case you forget all the stuff you can do?
That's my practice list, because I normally go and practice and just do whips.
Yeah.
So I was not really making any progress. I thought I'd write down everything I can do and some stuff I want to do, and pretty much definitely helps. Night and day, just go get a routine going and stuff.
Yeah. Feeling pretty good about the course?
Yeah, pretty comfortable so far. Looks cool. Just watching the Japanese guys have the wildcard qualifying now, so trying to get a view from the judges' tower and check it all out.
Yeah, rad.
Well, that was your take behind the scenes. What did you make of the action?
I really loved the main event. I was a little bit biased, obviously. I was cheering for my Kiwi brother, Levi Sherwood. But yeah, like I said, I was blown away by the skill of those guys.
He says a little bit biased. I got a text halfway through saying rigged when Levi went out. Well, Ben, thanks for coming in the studio. Always an honour to have you.
Yes, thanks a lot.